Look, I get it. There's something almost magical about biting into a juicy burger. That perfect combination of meat, cheese, pickles, and that soft bun. I mean, we Americans alone consume an average of 2.4 burgers per person every single day. That's not just a lot of burgers, that's a cultural phenomenon. But here's the thing. What if you actually did eat a hamburger every single day? What would happen to your body? So there was this guy in Toronto, let's call him Reza, who decided to find out. He committed to eating a burger every day for an entire year. Now, before you think this is going to be some feel-good story about how burgers are actually healthy, hold on, because what the science tells us is far more complicated and honestly a bit alarming. Let's start with your heart, because that's where things get really interesting. Research involving over 500,000 people found that diets high in red meat were associated with shorter lifespans, largely due to increased cardiovascular disease and cancer risk. And here's why. When you eat that hamburger, your body goes through this process, where it creates a chemical compound called trimethylamine N-oxide, or TMAO for short. This stuff builds up during digestion and leads to greater cholesterol accumulation along your artery walls. We're talking about the kind of buildup that contributes to heart disease. But it gets more specific. Studies demonstrate that the high levels of saturated fats and trans fatty acids in hamburgers raise LDL cholesterol while lowering the beneficial HDL cholesterol. Think of LDL as the bad guy. It's the cholesterol that sticks to your artery walls like gunk in a drain pipe, narrowing your blood vessels and making your heart work overtime. And cardiovascular disease? It's the leading global cause of death, accounting for 17.3 million deaths per year. Now what about your gut? This is where it gets uncomfortable, literally. Studies show that consuming one serving of red meat per day increases the risk of gut inflammation and diverticulitis by 18%. That's almost a 1 in 5 chance of developing serious gut problems just from eating red meat daily. Your gut is supposed to be this beautiful ecosystem of bacteria working in harmony. But red meat can throw that whole system into chaos. The inflammation doesn't just stay in your gut. Either, it spreads throughout your body like ripples in a pond. Let's talk about your brain for a second. You might not connect your lunch burger to your afternoon productivity crash, but there's a real connection. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that women who ate a meal high in saturated fats performed an average of 11% worse. On attention-based tests 5 hours later, their response times were more erratic, and they couldn't sustain attention as well. So that burger you had for lunch might actually be making you less sharp at work. Here's something that really surprised me. A study in clinical science found that men who ate an extra 4 ounces of ground beef each day increased their chances of developing kidney stones by 250%. 250%! That's because all that animal protein increases uric acid excretion, which forms those incredibly painful rock-like mineral deposits. If you've ever known anyone who's passed a kidney stone, you know that's not something you want to mess with. And if you think this video is helpful so far, please hit that like button. It really helps us reach more people who need this information. Now let's address diabetes and blood sugar. A prospective study of 84,555 women found that higher intake of burgers increased the 20-year risk of type 2 diabetes. Part of this comes from all the hidden sugars in a typical burger meal. The ketchup, the barbecue sauce, even the bun itself is loaded with high fructose corn syrup. Your blood sugar spikes, then crashes, and over time, your body becomes resistant to insulin. It's a vicious cycle that can lead to full-blown type 2 diabetes. But here's what really matters. It's not just about the meat itself, it's about what comes with it. A typical bacon double cheeseburger can contain 22 grams of saturated fat, which is 1% of your daily recommended value, and 172 milligrams of cholesterol. One meal, and you've already blown past your entire day's worth of saturated fat. Plus, when you grill that burger over an open flame, you're creating carcinogenic compounds. These are literally cancer-causing chemicals that form when meat is exposed to high heat, flames, and smoke. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. What about that guy Reza who ate a burger every day and actually lost weight? Well, here's the full story. He did lose about 15 pounds, but he also walked an average of 6 kilometers every day, changed all his other meals to be much healthier, and stayed super active, playing volleyball and hockey. The burger wasn't making him healthy. Everything else he was doing was compensating for the burger. That's a huge difference. Research shows that fast food meals typically have an energy density of approximately 236 kilocalories per 100 grams, which is twice what's recommended for a healthy diet. And when you add fries and a soda to that burger, you're looking at a meal that could contain nearly half your daily calorie needs in one sitting, with almost none of the nutrients your body actually needs. Here's the really scary part about inflammation. Saturated fat is pro-inflammatory, and the three major diseases we're all trying to avoid: heart disease, cancer, and dementia are all driven in part by inflammation. So every time you eat that high-saturated fat burger, you're literally adding fuel to the inflammatory fire in your body. Your blood vessels stiffen immediately after you digest it, making your heart work harder to pump blood. Let me be clear though, I'm not saying you can never eat a burger again. That would be unrealistic, and honestly, life's too short to never enjoy the foods you love. Most experts suggest that red meat once a week at most is a good benchmark, with one serving being about 3 ounces. That's about the size of a deck of cards, not the massive quarter-pounders we're used to seeing. If you do eat burgers, there are smarter ways to do it. Choose lean ground beef, at least 93% lean. Skip the bacon and cheese, or at least go lighter on them. Load up on vegetables instead. Use whole wheat buns to add some fiber. Or better yet, try turkey burgers or veggie burgers, made with whole food ingredients like beans and chickpeas. The key is making it the exception, not the rule. The bottom line is this: your body is incredibly resilient, but it's not invincible. Large studies analyzing health data from over 120,000 people for more than 20 years showed a 12% elevated risk of total mortality for those who consumed one serving of red meat per day. That means if you make hamburgers a daily habit, you're literally gambling with the length and quality of your life. So the next time you're tempted to make burgers your go-to meal, remember what's really happening inside your body. Your arteries are getting clogged, your gut is getting inflamed, your brain is getting foggy, and your risk for serious diseases is climbing. The occasional burger? Totally fine. Enjoy it, savor it. But every single day? That's a different story entirely. If you found this video valuable, please subscribe to our channel. We're committed to bringing you evidence-based health information that can actually change your life. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.